Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are talking about space engineers and the Economy 2 update. And honestly, this one is a pretty big shakeup for how the game actually feels moment to moment. The official update page says you can now store entire grids and redeploy them when you need them, repair damaged ships at trade stations without replacing every part by hand, hunt bounties, haul cargo through hostile space, and sell scrap for credits, while trade stations now have NPCs walking around inside them to make the places feel more alive. So let me break down what that means in a way that actually makes sense during gameplay. The biggest new feature is the services terminal, which is basically the new backbone of the economy system. Through that terminal, you can store entire grids, pull them back later, and even use precision placement when you redeploy them, which is huge for people who build a lot of ships or keep specialized craft for different jobs. There are also world settings that let server owners control how long retrieval takes, whether items can stay inside stored grids, and whether players can pay credits to speed the redeployment up. On top of that, the same terminal can be used for grid repair and grid salvage. So instead of manually grinding down a wreck or rebuilding a damaged ship piece by piece, you can take it to a trade station, spend credits, and either restore it or turn it into scrap value. That alone changes the rhythm of survival, combat recovery, and fleet management in a serious way. The economy side itself got a huge cleanup too. The old contract screen has been turned into a new economy overview, and now you can search items remotely across NPC and player-built stores without flying station to station just to see who has the better deal. The item search tab shows matching listings, price, amount, distance, faction, and restock timing, which makes the whole market feel much more usable instead of being buried behind menus. Store blocks also got stronger, with the maximum listings raised from 30 to 50, and players can now trade gases like hydrogen and oxygen through player-built stores, which opens the door to actual logistics networks, refueling services, and deeper player trade. NPC station prices were rebalanced too, so player shops can more realistically compete instead of getting drowned out by station pricing. That is the kind of change that can quietly reshape an entire multiplayer economy because suddenly, trading is not just flavor, it becomes a real path to progress. Contracts got a lot more interesting as well, and this is where the update starts to feel less like a menu patch and more like a gameplay expansion. Escort contracts were removed, and in their place, you now get courier contracts with different risk levels, search contracts for recovering missing grids, PV bounty contracts for taking down hostile NPC targets, hauling contracts for moving heavy cargo, salvage contracts for wreck diving and profit, item recovery contracts tied to encounters, and grid recovery contracts that send you back out into the world to bring derelicts home. The official notes also say contract rewards and parameters were rebalanced overall, which should help them feel more worth doing, instead of just being a grind for credits. This is one of the smartest parts of the update because it connects exploration, combat, rescue, hauling, and scavenging into the same loop instead of keeping them separate. Stations themselves got a big refresh too. Keen added 17 new trade station prefabs for surface, orbital, and deep space locations, gave trade stations unique names, added animated NPC characters walking around inside them, and improved the ways players can find stations through billboard ads, data pads and loot, and encounter-based contracts. Trade stations also now sell hydrogen across the board, which makes them more useful as travel stops, and the ship market has expanded with 43 new and updated grids, including ships, rovers, drones, and missiles. That means stations are no longer just a place where you click a block and leave. They are becoming active hubs with identity, movement, and actual reasons to return. The update also improves faction reputation behavior so hostile standing no longer blocks access completely, it just limits options and removes discounts. And there's even a new reputation decay option for worlds that slowly returns reputation toward default values during active play. In other words, factions are being made more dynamic and less permanently locked in stone. And there are some extra quality of life touches worth mentioning because they matter more than people think. Safe zones now automatically pull inventory like other blocks, they use less power, and floating objects behave better inside them. Controller and joystick support got more customization, inventory behavior improved, and there are new structural blocks for large grids that fit hangars, bases, and support builds much better. There are also content additions for existing DLC owners, plus a Steam-only reward for Space Engineers 2 owners in the form of the Almagest Engineer plushie. On the fix side, the patch notes include stability and functional fixes such as crash fixes for modded farm plots, modded turrets, maintenance panels, and several issues around contracts, reputation, controller inputs, block previews, and other systems. So this update is not just adding shiny stuff, it is also tightening up the base game underneath it. And when you put all of that together, Economy 2 feels less like a side feature and more like a real redesign of how Space Engineers wants you to live inside its universe, earn credits, move goods, repair losses, and keep coming back to stations for more than just a quick stop.